Today's date is November 2nd, 2017. Hello and welcome to the Thor Ragnarok Hit the Books review.
Yeah, we made it.
Emery and I just saw the premiere of Thor Ragnarok, Marvel's latest Marvel Cinematic Universe film.
Yes, we did.
And we have a lot of thoughts about it. Maybe too many. Maybe not enough. Yeah.
Oh, yep, this is one of those.
For those of you unfamiliar with our review process, basically what we do for movie reviews is we talk about whether we liked it or not and whether we recommend you go see it or not and this and that without spoilers, and then we give you a warning and we jump right into spoilers and discuss the film as a whole, including the typical Marvel cameos at the end and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
So, without further ado, let's get into it. Emery, what'd you think?
Well, I have to say this movie was entertaining, to say the least. This is a movie that was really, really well hyped. I don't want to say high expectations for this movie, given the previous Thor movies, but
Which I liked, by the way.
yeah. I mean, the first Thor movie, I would say, is a good movie, but not what I would call a Thor movie. The second movie is definitely a Thor movie, but not what I would call a good movie.
Yeah, I would probably say the second one is weaker, but
Yeah. This one, I would say, is probably, at least in my opinion, their best outing entertainment-wise with Thor. That's not to say that I didn't have issues with this.
Yep. Well, I have no idea whether I absolutely hate this movie or whether I absolutely love this movie. And the reason I say this is because this movie doesn't do any of the things it should do, but somehow still remains entertaining.
Yeah.
It has many of the problems I had with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 blown up to an epic proportion.
If anything, this movie is the dictionary definition of blowing up to an epic proportion.
Oh, it was blowing something. It was blowing itself quite a bit. Whoever wrote this movie,
savage,
really is in love with the new age Disney film where everything has to be a wink at the audience and everything has to be a stupid, corny joke, and you can't have a single serious moment. And I feel like the more I think about it, the more I dislike what they did, or at least how they handled it.
Yeah.
Where they just washed everything with ridiculous, like, cultural references in a world of Asgardians who have not experienced these cultural references
at all.
Well, I'll get into plenty during the spoiler talk.
Oh, yeah.
There's just constant, like, joke making in the most serious of moments, in the most dire of situations, which, you know, just to give an example, Captain America Winter Soldier had humorous, like, moments where he would say something or, you know, get punched or something and he would have a quip or something.
Right.
That's what I would expect, and that's, like, tolerable. Like, okay, I get it. You're the cool superhero guy. You're going to say a cool thing here or there and have a little chuckle or whatever. And, you know, you and Robert Downey Jr. are going to make a quip at each other in the slower moments that need a little humor.
Right.
This movie, no. Every scene is supposed to be a humorous scene, and they are completely in love with themselves to the point where it doesn't make fucking sense. I can't take any of this seriously, including the villains, including the consequences, which are pretty dire.
At least they should feel like it.
And Jeff Goldblum, man, he goes full Goldblum in this movie.
God.
And I don't know if it's for the better or not. There were parts where I was like, Goldblum was perfect for this moment. And then there are parts where I'm like, what the fuck were they thinking?
There was so much Goldblum in here that, oh, God, I felt like I was having good memories or good flashbacks of things like Independence Day and Jurassic Park, but then having like bad flashbacks of like Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah. It's
Independence Day 2. Ah.
Yeah. There was just so much, and I love Jeff Goldblum, but like,
yeah,
they made him. They got their money's worth out of him.
I love him, but they kind of made him a caricature of himself.
They really did. You're not wrong at all. So yeah, this movie, again, I don't know whether I hate it or love it or somewhere in the middle. I'll probably settle somewhere in the middle. It wasn't as cringeworthy as Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was at times trying to be serious and were just failing because they had set it up so poorly.
And then in the following scene, they would literally laugh at their own jokes.
Yes, exactly. In this movie, they knew exactly what they were doing from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Had no intention of being serious. And I think overall it hurts the movie. I think if they had sprinkled it in, it would be more tolerable, specifically during the slower moments. Like there's a scene where, no spoilers, but Hulk and Thor are in the same room, just bantering back and forth and stuff. And there's, humor in there, sprinkled in there, and both physical, like kind of slapstick humor, and then like actual spoken humor.
Yeah.
That was cool, because it would otherwise be a slow moment that would just drag on, and, audiences might get disinterested.
Right.
But when you're in the climactic fights with this, woman from essentially hell who's going to destroy all of your people and society.
Yeah.
And you're still making stupid jokes, not only with the main character, but with the villain. It's just so gross and so cringeworthy, and I couldn't take anything seriously. And at the beginning of the movie, I was just cringing over and over and over again, and eventually I just let go and just went with it. went with it for what it was, and just started just laughing at the stupidity of it.
I never thought I would go to a movie where the movie itself was basically trying to tell everyone in the audience, just let it happen.
Yeah, this was the ultimate Disneyfication of the Marvel Universe, and I think it forgets in a significant portion of the movie, I'd say the majority of the movie, that it's a Thor movie.
Yeah.
The whole center of the movie is just nothing but this side Goldblum Hulk story that doesn't really matter at all. Again, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where they just kind of go off on this side adventure, and then they come back and remind you it's about the dad.
Yeah.
This movie does the same stupid thing where it takes these characters away from the primary threat and situation that needs to be dealt with, and has an entire movie where they're just on this side quest doing their own thing.
And then, we forgot what movie we were on. Let's get back to that.
And then at the end of the movie, they're like, oh shit, this is still a Thor movie. We got to throw him back. We got to finish that. People are going to be angry at us.
Oh, shit.
Like, this movie feels like it's written by two different people, and one was trying to have a cool, epic Thor movie where you have all this kind of iconography from kind of, the Norse religion and history, and gave me, a lot of Lord of the Rings vibes and stuff, with the art and everything.
There's actually a scene that made me think of the Lord of the Rings, like
Fellowship of the Ring.
Specifically that movie.
Yeah, there's a very specific entry. But I felt if it had dedicated itself to being one or the other, it would be a pretty damn good movie.
But here's the thing, you're right when you said it feels like two movies. That's because it is two movies.
Yeah, and
this is Thor Ragnarok plus Planet Hulk.
It's barely Thor Ragnarok, though. I feel like the Thor Ragnarok parts were about 15 minutes at the beginning and 15 minutes at the end, and the rest is just Planet Hulk-ish. But you're focused on Thor instead of Hulk.
Right.
And And I feel like Hulk doesn't even really have a big role for as much as he's in it. He's just kind of there.
Right. He's like, oh no! It's like I need. Don't make me the Hulk. Oh shit! I have to Hulk.
Now it almost felt gross to me because I kind of felt like it was more fan service than anything. Like they just had to. They knew they couldn't hold Hulk in his own movie and have a Planet Hulk movie that would stand up.
And they know they've had trouble doing Thor movies.
So they're just like, let's mush them together and see what happens.
Yeah,
and
we're going to make this a weird buddy comedy about 40 minutes in.
Yeah, I do like this. Oh, I hesitate to say this because I don't know if I rewatched it, I feel like I would hate it.
I feel like I would probably hate it and then rewatch it again and then like it again. It's weird.
We just watched it, so we're as fresh can be.
Oh yeah.
Whereas the other ones, we waited several weeks and had time to stew it over and stuff. But
yeah,
I feel like if I rewatch it, I'll probably hate it more than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, just because they just didn't relent. And it's not a well-written story. Things just kind of happen, for reasons.
There's a lot happening. If there's one thing I can say about this movie is that there is so much happening that I literally lose track of where one of the characters went by the end of the movie. Like a big character.
Yeah, which is about what you'd expect.
Yeah.
So
it was everywhere.
There's just all sorts of things that I think will drag this movie down. I think because of the stylized version, it has the kind of 80s visuals that are popular right now. Again, trying to force back the 80s about a generation too late. But
it's like the bright and neon style.
Yeah, the kind of pseudo-techno modernized music in the background, with the exception of their Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin that they played at least three times during this movie.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Now, Led Zeppelin is notoriously stingy with their music rights for commercials, and they've let up in recent years, and it's usually only the one song that they let up on. They had Rock and Roll for one car commercial that I remember.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And then they lent Immigrant Song to School of Rock.
Yeah.
And then from then on, everybody started using Immigrant Song. And this movie was like, we spent a lot of fucking money to get this fucking song, so we're going to play it and we're going to use it for everything.
Like every time Thor has an awesome moment, that's when we play Immigrant Song.
Now, I will give this movie some props when in the very brief moments where it's not trying to be a comedy.
Which are few and far between.
It has awesome visual moments, like when there's a scene, you see it in the commercials, so it's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
But where Hela's surrounded by the Pegasus troops.
The Valkyries.
Oh, well, I was trying not to spoil it, but I guess it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
There's a scene where Hela's fighting all the Valkyries, and the clouds are crawling in, and it's all in this kind of slow, not quite slow motion, but kind of a really deliberate animation style.
Oh, yeah.
And
it looks like a painting.
That looked awesome. Visually, I knew it was CG.
Incredible. Yeah.
I knew it was CG, but it looked so incredible I couldn't get over it. And I think Zack Snyder does this sometimes. He really pulls it off. Sometimes he has that just one really great visual moment in his movies that kind of give him a few points where otherwise he would just be devoid.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie had a handful of them. There's a fight scene at the end that has something like this, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Yeah, yes, we are.
There's some very Mortal Kombat-esque moments towards the end there. There's a few fight scenes that were more or less irrelevant to the main story, unfortunately, that were just beautifully shot and just look so cool and stylized, and I feel like they made them purely to put them in the commercial for it. And no other reason really, because it wasn't long.
There's a few things that they changed specifically for the movie that seems very, very different from what was advertised.
Yeah. But I don't know. Do you recommend people go see it?
kind of feel like I'm on the fence about this one. I will say yes, go see this movie. If for nothing else, there are beautifully shot scenes. Like there are scenes that we were talking about before that look like they were like hand painted or directly lifted from like comic book panels.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
mm-hmm.
And while this movie was very relentless in its approach at humor, there are some genuine jokes in there that made me actually laugh as opposed to facepalm. Chris can tell you, like, I face palmed quite a bit.
Yeah,
in this
I think we
movie.
both did. Yeah,
Oh.
I would say it was about 50-50. They hit on about 50, and they face palmed about 50% of the time. And
yeah,
with Guardians of the Galaxy, it really irked me because the rest of the movie was so good. Like, the characters were so likable, and it was just,
yeah,
they had such a great setup that they just kind of squandered. This movie, I feel like they just never let up, and they didn't give me enough time to settle in and enjoy it, to hate it. So I was just at a constant plateau of, like, not sure if I'm digging it or hating it. Like, just somewhere in that gray area, where I just constantly zigzagging,
It's like very, very unreliable in how you are made to feel.
Yeah,
by this movie.
I would say go see this. You don't. Well, the visual stuff, maybe you should see it in theaters. If you don't see it in theaters, you're not going to miss out on that much. But I feel like in the effort to stay relevant and updated with what's going on in this Marvel Cinematic Universe for Infinity War and stuff, you probably have to see this.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's
this movie is very relevant to the course that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to take.
Yeah. There's at least 3 big players that you need to pay attention to that are involved in this movie that probably lead directly into Infinity War. So I would say to stay relevant, see it. If you really want to just go into this movie, don't expect this movie to be anywhere near like Spider-Man Homecoming or Dark Knight or anything, even Avengers or anything like that. Don't expect that.
This is
expect a kind of tongue-in-cheek, loose story.
Turn off your brain, pop in the popcorn.
Exactly. Turn off the brain. Just laugh and ride it along until it's ending and get a reference for where everything is. I would say if it wasn't for the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, you could probably skip this movie. If it weren't going to be so culturally important and relevant to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would say you could probably skip this movie and be okay. But since it is right dead in the center of what's leading up to Infinity War, you really do have to see it.
Yeah.
You have to see it for reference to Hulk. You have to see it for reference to Thor, Loki, all these characters that are probably going to make a significant appearance and
to
have
say the least,
significant worries,
or
I would say.
Repercussions.
Beyond their own immediate character. So, yeah, go see it. If you just pick it up at a matinee price or something, more power to you. You're still going to get the big screen visual experience for those few moments that we were describing. But other than that, I don't know if I'm struggling because we had the 3 Marvel movies this year, right? We had Spider-Man Homecoming, we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and we had Thor Ragnarok. Is that all of them? So, of those 3, I don't know if Thor is worse or better than Guardians. Spider-Man Homecoming took the trophy a long time ago. It's already down the street and having a party.
Oh, yeah, easily. Marvel knew exactly what to do with Spider-Man.
I feel like I appreciated and enjoyed like the action scenes and stuff in Guardians more just because I liked the team and the dynamic of the characters. Thor, I thought, had moments that could have been awesome and really stylish and really neat that they kind of squandered a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of... Here's the thing. The stakes. It doesn't feel like there's any stakes because you're not given time to feel any of the stakes. It's like much like the character that you're supposed to be following through this whole movie. A lot of it is just taken in stride.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, let me give you our official warning. We are going into spoilers. We are going to be talking about a lot of things that happen in this movie, both good and bad, and I anticipate that we are going to spoil everything, including the end credit scenes and everything. So if you don't want the movie spoiled, don't stick around. There are a few nice surprises in there that you probably don't want spoiled for you, but I think most of those... Is there anything really huge? I mean, everything, all the spoiler things you see.
Huge being a very operative word here.
Yeah, all the spoiler things that you see in this movie are things you pretty much already know.
Yeah.
It's just now you have a reference. Except maybe that first end credit scene.
Yeah, the first end credits scene is probably going to have some people stumped.
Yeah, and the very end maybe. I'd say that's probably a spoiler. So
yeah,
if you don't want anything spoiled, don't stick around. Go see the movie. Come back and join us and talk with us and let us know what you think and whether you agree or disagree or whether there's something we missed that you think was atrocious or something we missed that you think made this movie great. And talk about it in the comments or tweet at us or whatever you want to do. So without further ado, spoiler warning. All right, Emery, I have a lot of problems with this fucking movie.
Wasting absolutely no time.
As I said at the beginning, this movie is not coherent in any way, shape, or form. You know that Odin is not there on Asgard because we saw this at the end of Avengers, or was it Avengers 2? Or maybe it was Thor 2.
That was Thor 2.
Thor 2, okay. So we know that Loki's there pretending to be Odin and just enjoying himself. And we don't really know what happened to Odin. We just know that Loki's there. And we're not really given a good explanation for any of this. It's just...
Not a one.
It's just... Oh, Loki somehow cast Odin out and somehow confused him with his magic and made him think he was an Earthling. And for some reason, he goes from New York City to Norway? Why? Why would this guy logically go to fucking Norway for no apparent reason other than, Norse mythology?
Hey!
And then they go to find the fucking dude, and he's just in this weird fucking plateau and grass.
He's just standing by himself.
Digital grass at that. Standing there.
Oh, it was digital.
Just has this like nonsensical conversation with these two sons, and then I guess dies as he turns into gold dust.
I guess. I mean, it's like
just picturing the WWE guy.
It's like, oh shit!
But I felt that was almost not. I mean. It never reached this. It never reached this level, but it was almost as stupid as the Man of Steel, like dad scene where he dies for no fucking reason, and then like I would say it's even more comparable to BVS, where Superman just for some reason goes to the top of a mountain and for some reason hallucinates that dear old dead dad that I let die is there, and he has this supposed to be inspirational conversation, but meanwhile the fucking sons are in the background nudging each other, making jokes and jabs at each other the whole time. Like, am I supposed to take any of this seriously?
Yeah, about that.
He's a fucking god. You just
technically all three of them were, but
I just turn into gold for sparkles.
Hey.
And the fucking, oh my god, the Jeff Goldblum referring to his lightning as sparkles. All I could think about was, oh, he inherited the sparkles from Dad, as we saw earlier.
Oh, God.
I have so many problems with this movie and the way it was written. It's just so, like, out of place with the rest of the Marvel movies. The rest of the Marvel movies have humor in them, and increasingly so, I think, as they try to, like, force it a little bit. But this movie was just so over the top, out of place, where everything was a fucking joke and everything had to have jabs back and forth. The most serious of fucking moments where people are dying and your homeworld's being fucking destroyed, and this fucking bitch just shows up for no apparent reason. Like, oh, when Odin dies, oh, this woman I cast out is going to suddenly know and appear not in fucking Asgard, on Earth. Why did she appear on Earth? There's no reason for her to appear on Earth other than we want to have an action scene where they're going in the fucking CG rainbow thing and throw him into space.
The Bifrost.
It was literally nothing but a fucking plot twist to send them to Planet Hulk world so they could do that side mission for an hour and 30 minutes of the movie.
Like, this is what happens when we put these three characters together for all of 10 seconds.
It was
10 seconds into, like, Hela showing up for the first time in the entire movie.
Without explanation.
Without any explanation.
Hey, Odin just turned into gold sparkles on Earth for no reason.
Yeah.
And Hela shows up and says, "What's up, fucks?"
It's like, oh, yeah,
hey,
he's
bro.
gone. That's a shame that
Kneel
I
to
missed
me
it.
on this fucking Earth planet thing.
He was like, fuck that.
So, yeah, it was so incoherent all the way through. And this movie, if it had been written as strictly Ragnarok and they had, made it a battle between Hela and Thor and Loki and all these people in between, that would have been a great movie and a cool movie. And I liked the idea of kind of what they did, where they had Idris Elba, his character, having a kind of resistance.
Heimdall, yeah,
a resistance movement, trying to save as many people as he could. But none of that needed to happen. None of it. The only reason any of that shit happens is because we're gonna go on the side quest for most of the movie.
We've got thrown over to Planet Hulk because we can't stay on a fucking rainbow bridge that we've been taking for. Let's reiterate that these are gods who have been alive for thousands of years.
Yeah. Nothing in this movie makes fucking sense, and then the solution to everything takes like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
He awakens his Raiden powers, again.
It's like, I awoken these for like a little bit, and then it's like, oh no, you can't use those yet.
Yeah.
We'll have you pull those out later.
And even that stuff is irrelevant because it doesn't solve the problem. It's just, oh, you're going to be the flashy distraction that we film while we take another 10 minutes to have, Loki go and destroy Asgard for us,
Right.
It was just so sloppy. And I feel like they could have just taken their time. I don't know if maybe there's a time limit on these contracts and they're just worried that they're not going to get these people back. But
possibly also the Marvel machine, aka Disney machine. It hurts. It really hurts to see this movie, which again should have been two separate movies, being basically shoehorned into each other to the point where half the time I couldn't tell which way was fucking up. And that's before we talk about leaving planet Sakaar by flying through the devil's anus.
They literally call it the devil's anus. This is some planet in the middle, fuck knows where, and for some reason we have a portal to fucking Asgard in our backyard.
Not just that.
Called the Devil's Anus.
Yeah. Also,
none of this makes sense.
Can we talk for just a brief second about how in the fuck in this fucking cinematic universe does a guy with an aircraft that is just an aircraft, not a fucking spacecraft, an aircraft, manage to find his way on the backside of the universe's ass crack?
Yeah. Somehow, Bruce Banner's stupid ass goes from Earth's atmosphere to this fucking place in the middle of the fucking universe. Like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
He's just in a jet.
Why?
He's in a jet. It's it. It's a fucking jet.
It's like out of nowhere, he finds a strange portal that never shows up again.
And not only was he doing this, he was doing this in Hulk form. Somehow he piloted this fucking thing off the planet Earth to this fucking planet on another galaxy.
Can we talk for a minute about how this Hulk, who, that's another thing. We finally got the Hulk to say things in this movie. This Hulk manages to, while still Hulk, operate machinery of any kind. Let alone manage to not be suffocated in the vacuum of space, which is where he should have gone if he was going to the atmosphere, but find a very conveniently placed portal that takes him all the way to Sakaar, where we can have Jeff Goldblum make him kill a bunch of people. Also Doug.
And also for 2 years, nothing makes him go back to normal?
Absolutely nothing?
He was on the plane with the stupid video that made him change back to normal. So that video never played ever? You never even thought about it? You never was reminded of it? Like, nothing in this movie makes fucking sense. I feel like in Planet Hulk, correct me if I'm wrong, he stays Hulk simply because he chooses to, right?
Yes.
It's not just because randomly we decide, he's not going to change back. It's because he chooses to.
Yeah. That was a by choice deal. Ugh. Not any of this, it's like the Hulk was taking over. I don't know if I ever become the Hulk again, if Bruce Banner will ever be back. Because are we just saying we're done with Mark Ruffalo? Is that what we're saying? Is Mark Ruffalo done with this shit? And
I don't know what the fuck to think, man. I think I'm going to say one thing, and hopefully I don't forget to say the other thing.
Yeah.
I think another big thing that hurt this movie, especially as a Thor movie, is the destruction of the hammer. Like, you see that in the trailer and you think, oh, shit just got real.
Yeah.
And then you go see this movie and it's like, it didn't even matter.
That was...
Mjolnir is supposed to be everything. It gives him his power.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is him. Nobody else can supposedly lift it, but we're just gonna, break it and forget about it. Just leave it.
And not just that. We're going to say Hela had it first.
Yeah.
And broke it, and it's like, just like every other movie where it's like the guy with the powers gets his powers taken. You had to realize the power was in him all along.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, God damn it.
The power literally doesn't come back for any good reason. It just...
he just gets hit a lot.
You want some powers? All right.
He just gets hit extra and thinks...
Go be Raiden for a few minutes.
He thinks of his dad. He's just like, oh shit, Dad's dead.
Yeah.
Dad's dead.
BVS a Superman moment where he imagines Dad and suddenly gets his powers back for no apparent reason in a context where there's no reason for him to be thinking about his dad at all.
No.
None.
No. He starts thinking about his dad after he's kind of gotten like super trounced by the Hulk the first time he sees him in the arena that everyone's seen from the trailer.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you think a fight with the Hulk is gonna go? Eventually, the Hulk does that thing that he does when he has someone on the ground and he just keeps hitting him. He just keeps hitting him.
Yeah. So there were things in this movie that, like the Valkyrie scene, for example, beautiful looking scene that I was totally digging. The scene, with the exception of the like winking to the audience where he does the fucking Raiden spin move.
I swear to God.
The bridge fight scene had a lot of cool moments. When he and Hela actually were fighting, they had cool moments. I was hoping that there would be more of like a Loki and Thor versus Hela moment where they're both just going at her.
I was hoping for that too.
Especially when in the trailer they have like the slow motion thing where he's on the bridge and he flips the knives.
He flips the knives just to look fucking cool.
But the thing is, he doesn't do that in the movie.
Oh, another thing.
The flip knife thing never happened.
Yeah,
the coolest scene in the fucking trailer doesn't happen in the movie.
Oh, yeah, the thing that's supposed to make you get amped.
I thought I was going to see Loki going all out on the backside of Hela, come to help save Thor's ass after he threw himself in there.
Yeah, and while he does pull out knives, he doesn't do the one thing that made him actually look fucking cool in this movie.
Yeah. So I have so many problems because, like, in the moments that should have shined the brightest, where they could have milked it for all it was worth, they just made it kind of a throwaway scene. And it, even when he starts fighting Hela, literally all they do is jump at each other and scene. That's it. And the next thing you see is Thor getting stabbed a bunch of times. Like,
right.
We missed the coolest fucking part of the film. They didn't even show it to us.
It's like we missed the clash. That is one thing that is a fucking sin when it comes to filmmaking. If you're doing an action movie where you're showing the two, like, the primary protagonist and the primary antagonist doing a clash scene, to cut away before the actual connection happens, that's a fucking tragedy.
Yeah.
That is a missed opportunity for, like, movie gold.
Yeah. And I want to tell you, the first time I got that inkling that this movie was going to disappoint me, and I went into this movie with very low expectations because of what happened to me during Guardians. The first time I knew was when we start the movie and he's in this fucking fiery realm or something. I thought what they were going to do is be like, all right, he's in this situation because Hela came in and took over and all this bad shit happened.
And Hela threw him in jail or something.
He's just reflecting on it. I was like, all right, that's a cool way to do this. Instead, it's just him being in this fucking fire realm for no apparent reason. Somehow somebody told him somewhere that, hey, you should go to this fucking fire realm and go and steal this fucking dude's helmet so you can protect it from destroying your world. And
that's
at no
not even
point,
his helmet. It's more or less his face.
Yeah, and
he just took some dude's face off.
There's no reason for him to know this and go there without going to Asgard first, where he would clearly realize that, hey, my dad is Loki, and maybe I should say something.
Yeah.
So that the beginning of the movie is literally nothing but a big plot hole. And not only is it a plot hole, but they try to take this like serious, action scene where this creature thing who can supposedly destroy, Asgard.
Surtur.
He's just, not only is he making jokes, but the fucking monster thing is making jokes while he's hanging on a chain and rotating. And their joke is, hold on, wait for me to come around. I'm not even moving, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is supposed to be a fucking, an end of times monster thing that's going to destroy your fucking homeworld.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'll make jokes with him. And then he just breaks out of the chains because, why not? Mjolnir doesn't even free him from the chains. He just like, ugh.
Yeah.
This fucking demon monster couldn't come up with some fucking magical chains or something. He does nothing but fight Asgards.
Yeah, and also, I think it's like right after he breaks out of the chains that we have the first usage of Immigrant Song.
Yeah, the initial use of Immigrant Song, to be followed by two more, at least two more.
Yeah, it was like,
I don't remember if there's another one in the credits. There probably was.
I don't think it was in the credits. I think they might have maybe learned restraint.
Yeah, but for this movie, when I turned off my brain and which is kind of like what I have to do with Zack Snyder movies, and that's not a good thing, Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
When I turned
God.
off my brain and just appreciated Hemsworth's Thor for being cool looking,
He went full meathead.
and Loki for being cool looking in the fight scenes, I was like, all right, cool.
It looks cool. I'll give you that.
I felt there's just so much wasted potential, and that's why I'm not even a Marvel guy. Like, and when I do read Marvel comics, I usually hate Thor because he talks in the stupid, like, oh, thy power is not good, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yea, verily.
Like, that shit annoys the fuck out of me. I'm like, just speak in a normal fucking voice. You've lived on Earth long enough to, not talk like a fucking douchebag.
This is what happens when you get him to speak in a normal voice.
Yeah, that's why I like the movie version of Thor. I think the movie version of Thor is cool and likable and relatable. But the moment you just take everything out of his movie that makes his actions important, I had so many problems. This movie isn't a good Thor movie. It's not a good Hulk movie. It's not a coherent movie. There's so many things that you are looking forward to that just don't happen. And the movie is just constantly winking at the audience and jacking itself off with, forced humor and stupid jokes and fucking... For some reason, we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory music going on this fucking alien planet.
Oh my God! I almost forgot
going
about
through these
that.
and they're drinking.
Oh my God!
They're fucking drinking, American beers on these fucking planets, and the fucking guy at the beginning makes a fucking Dallas Cowboys reference on Asgard.
An alien makes a fucking rock paper scissors joke.
I got these, rock paper scissors joke. Oh my God. And I got these in a place called Texas.
Texas.
He's holding up two fucking,
two fucking M16s.
Yeah. And I named this one Dez and I named this one Troy. Together, they're Destroy. I'm like, you literally just made a fucking Cowboys reference for an Asgardian on Asgard holding two fucking M16s, two AR-15s, just fucking... What are you fucking doing? None of this makes sense. None of it is coherent, and it's like the humor is lost because it's so out of place and incoherent for where it's happening.
Speaking of out of place jokes, little physical humor. Let's take a spear that for some reason breaks off into like 3 tips, and have the alien, who's never been to Earth before, say, "Oh, you could kill 3 vampires if they were like all huddled together," and it's just like.
Yeah, nothing nothing in this movie makes sense, and it's 100% on the writing, because it wasn't like improv scenes where you're like, okay, whatever, he was improvising and trying to be funny. No,
yeah.
These were scenes that were hard written for fucking CG characters and stuff, like
that was planned. They planned that joke.
Whoever wrote this movie needs to be fucking fired immediately.
God,
because they just whiffed on so many things, and I don't know if the producers made them do it or if they just didn't film the action scenes they wanted to. But there were so many opportunities just to have an awesome action scene with Thor, and they just squandered it with CG, cannon fodder. And then the big bads that you would expect to be an exciting fight, the giant monster and Hela, you're just like, We'll have them jump at each other, and she'll wave some CG knives around, and then we'll forget about it.
Speaking of cannon fodder, the fucking Warriors 3, Hogun, Fandral, and Volstagg.
They go out like bitches.
Yeah, they do.
They don't do a fucking thing.
Like, what the fuck, guys?
Are you telling me these fucking people that fight on the level of Thor himself
for thousands of years
couldn't even put up a little bit of a fight? I mean, the fucking cannon fodder soldiers that she fights at the end of the bridge at least impaled her once.
Yeah.
They stabbed her once.
Whereas,
but the fucking elite heroes of this fucking world couldn't do a fucking thing. It's just knife, 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 dead.
what the fuck?
I don't know. There's just so
God
many moments in
damn
this
it.
movie where I'm just like, fuck. They had like little glimmers of like what could have been with the dynamic between Loki and Thor, where they're like, Loki's still kind of up to some shit, you know, with the cosmic cube and stuff, and you know, and he's still in the middle of the movie being a dick for no real good reason. But then at the end, he kind of redeems himself, but you know, he probably has the cube on him, and he's probably doing something nefarious, which is
because he's Loki.
Which is probably why you see the giant ship in the after credit scene, the first after credit scene.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Thanos knew that he had the fucking cube and was like, give me my fucking cube.
I'm assuming within like maybe 3 minutes into the Infinity War movie, it's going to start with Loki being pushed aside like a bitch.
Yeah.
And being told by Thanos, give me that fucking cube or I'm going to fucking kill you. And all of Asgard, that's another point. Since when is Asgard not an actual place in this universe? Since when is Asgard a people? Also, if Asgard is not a place, but a people, how is it that Hela somehow loses power and dies, but Thor doesn't? How is it that...
Reasons. Nothing, literally nothing is explained in this movie. Things just happen.
It's just a bunch of cool-looking shit.
Like, hey, I'm going to peace out, and your evil sister's going to come back and kill everybody. Cool? Cool. Bye.
Cool.
Gold dust.
Cool. Bye. Gold dust and like, oh.
You didn't see it coming.
Oh, he's dead. Oh, shit.
And now
I missed it.
You and your brother, who get sent off at two completely different points on the whatever Frost.
Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second,
and
too?
Still somehow end up on the same fucking planet, doing completely different things. Nothing makes sense. All right.
Oh, my God.
The things we've been complaining about mostly so far have been about the stuff that happens at the very beginning and the very end, because those are the only Thor parts, let's be real.
Yeah.
The middle of the movie is all on this fucking planet with Planet Hulk situations going on. You have the Hulk who, for no reason whatsoever, just doesn't go back to Bruce Banner ever.
Nah.
You have Jeff Goldblum, who is just over the top Jeff Goldblum. At first lovable, but eventually he starts to wear on you a little bit.
He went full Goldblum.
Although I will give him credit for his end credit scene, which was kind of funny. But the way they made it sound like he was one of those like older entities, like, you know, the Collector and stuff.
Yeah, and he should be. But for some reason,
like, hey, everybody's gonna kick his ass. Like, what?
Like,
I thought he was some cosmic entity. I thought that was the whole reason he had this place in the first place.
Right. Like the way that end credit scene should have gone down is like, oh, everything fell apart. They try to attack him. He still bats them away like they're fucking nothing because he's still the fucking Grand Master.
Yeah. But nope, he's just some fucking dude who fucks chicks in his ship. And has birthday orgies in a ship. Another thing, I was like, why? Why did we need to do this?
It's my birthday.
He has a giant birthday party button.
God.
Oh, this movie, man.
This fucking movie.
It was so stupid.
This is how, you know, the people at Marvel, at least depending on which project they're on, they really don't give a shit.
I feel like we're just getting dangerously close to Schumacher territory.
Dangerously close.
We're not there yet,
God.
but we're getting fucking close, man.
Yeah, we're not quite like bat nipples and bat butt, but it's getting...
And I feel like I'm tearing this movie apart because I did enjoy parts of it. Mostly like the action scenes and the brief interactions you have between Loki and Thor.
Yeah.
Before they're interrupted by a stupid joke or, a nonsensical
Yeah.
villain showing up or something.
Like the elevator scene. I both love it and hate it. Because
I loved it until they showed what the trick was.
Oh, yeah.
When they showed what the trick was, I was like, that was fucking retarded. There was no why would any enemy be like, "Oh, let us help you out," and let their guard down, for one, and two, your fists aren't good enough, you have to throw your brother at him. Somehow that works better than just going forward and punching them. You're fucking gods. You're fucking gods.
It's like they forgot. It's like they forgot this whole fucking time.
Yeah, there's so many things to pick apart about this movie, and I feel like it wouldn't bother me so much. I'd just shrug it off and be like, whatever. If there weren't so many opportunities for great potential scenes, this very easily could have been the best Thor movie by far and been one of the better Marvel movies in this universe if they had just stuck to being Ragnarok, if they hadn't forced all this inappropriate humor that was just poorly timed and in bad places, and if they had actually shown the cool action scenes and cinematography that would have sold this movie, the stuff that they were advertising in the fucking trailer. Half the fucking trailer wasn't in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
And then there was something that was definitely in the movie that wasn't in the trailer. Thor loses an eye.
No.
Which means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah,
it literally means nothing. It means he gets to wear an eye patch.
One more excuse to fuck with Chris Hemsworth and make him wear more shit. I don't know. At least he doesn't have to have the long wig anymore. I am 100% confident that the reason they cut his hair in this movie
is because he got tired of the wig,
which was probably the weakest Stan Lee cameo yet.
Yeah. Oh.
I love Stan Lee, but that was
they
could have done something better with him.
Nothing.
Yeah, they could have done something way better for him.
Yeah.
But I feel like the only reason they make him cut his hair is because he was complaining that this wig was fucking hot, and he already had to wear this hot armor that has to have a fucking cooling system in it because it's so gross and exhausting and dehydrates him.
Oh yeah.
So I understand from an acting point they cut his hair. I think he looks cooler with short hair anyway. And the eye patch thing, like I don't want. You just want him to look like his dad, fucking Gold Dust dad. So he can be the leader-ish of his people. I don't know.
In order to lead the Asgardians, you must be an Asgardian yourself and also only have one eye.
Yeah. So I think it's cool, but it kind of made me a little sad inside because once I saw him with the short hair and the eye patch, I could see the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least as we currently know it, before a hard reboot has to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very clear that once Infinity War Part 2 is over with, they really don't have anywhere else to go. And I think a lot of these characters, they're just going to be rebooted. They're going to be let go. Their contracts are too expensive now, And
yeah.
They're still complaining about their costumes, which is understandable. They've been doing this fucking stuff for 10 years now,
Yeah, those things get hot. I can understand why a lot of the things that they're doing to help these guys out is CGI.
Yeah, so there's good things. There's little sparks of like greatness in this movie that just kind of got squashed.
There's one thing that I'm still trying to reconcile throughout my entirety of watching this movie. Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there was no reason whatsoever to have him in there.
There's only one reason, and that's because of in the Doctor Strange movie,
we had the end credits scene.
We had the end credits scene, and now we got to explain it.
Yeah, we committed.
We totally committed to that being a thing. Also, to have that whole thing go down is like, yeah, let's have a funny part where it was like, oh, like he somehow banishes Loki to a place where he just falls forever, and then he brings him back. But why don't we also, in a Thor movie, completely undercut how powerful Norse gods are by having a very human wizard just goes like, yeah, nope, transport. I'm gonna disorient you this whole fucking time. You guys are idiots. You guys aren't shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay.
It was entertaining.
It makes sense, and it was like kind of tongue in cheek here or there. But I feel like he was an asshole to Thor for no apparent reason. I can't think of a single reason why he would be a dick to Thor.
There's one reason, and one reason only. Because he's a dick to everyone.
Is he though? He seemed pretty nice to like his buddies. I don't know, and his girlfriend or whatever.
No. He learns how not to be a dick by the end of his movie, but
he was a dick to her at the very beginning, and then he's fine. He was nice the rest of the movie,
right? Because he learned to not be a dick.
But
God
yeah,
damn it.
that scene was completely useless and a very convenient way to get them to fucking Norway for no apparent reason. Yeah, just one of many incoherent, stupid things in this movie that just didn't need to be there. See, what I thought was going to happen with the whole Doctor Strange thing was, Thor was going to be on Earth, with his girlfriend or whatever, and he was going to, end up running into Doctor Strange, who had just inherited this role of protector, from cosmic whatevers.
Yeah.
And he goes, look, you're from another dimension or whatever it is in this world. I don't get it. Because apparently you can fly to it. So
right.
Maybe it's just another part of space. I don't fucking know. But I thought Doctor Strange would be like, all right, there's a greater threat coming, and I know where it's coming from, and I need your help in isolating it, or this and that, something along those lines. And they would kind of form a mutual agreement that'd be like, hey, you keep eyes open, ears open for me. I'll keep eyes open, ears open, and then we'll report back to each other and help each other out or whatever. And then, Thor would go back to Asgard and discover Loki being a douchebag, and this would lead to something happening where Loki, like, trying to defend himself or something, releases Hela or something along those lines. That's what I was expecting. Not, I'm just random shit happening everywhere. Just so.
Speaking of random shit,
the one cameo I was expecting and very disappointed that we didn't see was I expected to see something referencing the Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie, especially since
this is all like space age related. It's off in the stars.
The vast majority of this movie is in this space world planet thing,
and
this junkyard planet / Coliseum thing. And
not a single member of that group shows up.
You don't see anything. You don't hear it referenced, or maybe there's something in the background, like they put a little device or something in the background, but you don't see anything referencing like the Guardians of the Galaxy people, even though fucking Jeff Goldblum was in the fucking credits of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for no reason. Again, another reason I hate that movie. It's just stupid shit in these movies that doesn't make sense. Why is Jeff Goldblum fucking dancing in the credits of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, even though he's not in it? Why is he then in the Thor movie and there's no Guardians of the Galaxy whatsoever?
I think he was busy having a space orgy. That's what he was doing.
So yeah, overall,
it hurts.
I have so many fucking problems with this movie, and it wouldn't bother me so much, and I wouldn't be so passionately upset about it if they hadn't shown so many great sparks, no pun intended, of a great movie, of a great film, of a great story.
It had a lot of potential.
They just no, not good. If this were any other movie with any other franchise without the giant universe building it, I would be like, this movie was shit. It was incoherent. It was stupid. The humor was completely off. Like, there was cool visual things in it from time to time, but that was it. And
it's like you can make a pretty painting, but if you can't come up with a decent story to get from point A to point B, the fuck is the point?
Yeah. I mean, if it didn't already have those super strong foundations that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is built for it, this thing would have fallen apart immediately. Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the only reason I give it as much credit as I do, and the only reason I was able to enjoy it as much as I did, which is to say, brain off, it was good, it was okay.
Yeah.
Is because of all the stuff that had happened before. Had none of that happened before, had no setup, had these characters been brand new to me, I would be like, fuck this. This is fucking retarded. Nothing about this makes sense. This is stupid.
Yeah, it's...
So,
guys...
The more and more I think about it, again, I like the Thor movies. I probably more than you. I like Thor as, the Chris Hemsworth, character. But he has great visuals, and I like that he has the kind of lightning power or whatever. The Mjolnir thing was stupid, but I just there's just so much that I want to love that just keeps getting stripped from this character in these movies, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel.
Oh.
But I think Guardians gets away looking better because Guardians had a good ending.
Yeah.
Guardians wrapped it up nicely and gave you a good, satisfying ending. Guardians has the likable character interactions that, while they were doing a lot of the eye winking at the audience, and Batista was over the top, ridiculous, forced humor, whereas the first movie was more like an occasional occurrence because he's dumb.
Yeah. Still learning about him. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was more like, oh, I don't understand the context because I'm socially inept. And then the second movie was, I'm going to make a joke because I'm funny. That's the difference, Even with all of that, the characters were likable. You had Kurt Russell, who was kind of entertaining, if not, again, forced in some parts.
Yeah.
But this movie is just, from beginning to end, it's just, I want to I like Loki. I like the Valkyrie girl. I like, Thor himself. Odin was fucking retarded. I don't know. Yeah, I like Idris Elba's character. I
just remember something, and this is one of the very kind of self-decadent parts of this movie. There is a really funny scene, now that I think about it, with Odin, or who everyone thinks is Odin, watching a play of what happened in Thor 2.
The ultimate cameo.
Oh my god.
Where Loki has decided to get Matt Damon to play himself in his stage play.
Of course.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty entertaining.
Oh my god.
But that was appropriate. That's what I would expect from Loki.
Right.
Know? It wasn't like Odin doing this, like actual Odin doing this. This wasn't Hela doing this, which is what happened with a lot of the other funny moments.
Yeah.
Where it's just a character in a situation that shouldn't be making jokes either way. I don't know. And I liked... Another big disappointment for me is I feel like, we talked about this with the Spider-Man film. The Marvel Cinematic Universe lacks good villains, period.
Yeah.
The best villain they have is Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming.
And all of their other good villains are owned by another company for the movie rights.
Yeah, so literally the most forgettable character in the comics is their best villain in their cinematic universe right now.
Which is saying a lot at this point.
People give Loki a lot of credit, but I don't think Loki was that great a villain to begin with. He's a cool character. I like him as a character and as an anti-hero type of dude.
Yeah, he's barely a villain. He's more an asshole.
I didn't think he was a good villain in Avengers. He was just kind of a dude with a stick.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
shitting
like, I'm
on
gonna
humans once in a while and then
shoot some bolts,
doing his
and
thing.
maybe turn some people to my side.
And he really isn't intimidating at all. People are always kicking his ass. Like,
yeah.
I just didn't think I really do think the only good villain they have is Vulture. Is Michael
That's unfortunate.
Keaton. Michael Keaton is their best villain right now, and Hela could have been the next big awesome villain. She has an awesome visual style. She's intimidating. She is awesome action scenes where she's fighting with all of them.
And they killed her.
Not only did they kill her, but the few fights she has, they're just like, CG, gone.
There's like one
when they had like the coordinated fighting when Thor was going at her briefly, very briefly,
very
before they do the cinematic jump at each other for the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, and even like
hurts.
the part where she cuts out his eye, it's just like the most random thing. Like,
it's like,
nothing.
Look at that! He cut his eye. I wonder why.
She didn't like stab his eye or anything. She just kind of went, bleh, and his eye popped out.
Right.
I was like, what is this? That doesn't make fucking sense. That's not physically possible.
How do you even? You know what?
So there's a lot of things in this movie that I feel were just shoved in there, and I feel like the writers were just on a fucking couch getting stoned and coming up with whatever would make them laugh while they were getting stoned off their ass. Like, and just throwing in every stupid joke they could think of and every stupid situation they could think of. Like, we literally get a Hulk dick joke in this movie. We get a Hulk dick joke in this movie about the fucking Armageddon of Asgard.
Right. His entire people are about to die.
His path to salvation is called the Devil's Anus. Referenced by not one, but several characters.
And the best that we could do... God. A dick joke.
Yeah,
a dick joke.
The more I think about it and the more I talk about it with you, the more angry I get because there's just so much wasted potential. And, it's one of those things where once you've done it, you can't really go back and redo it, at least not for a significant amount of time, Yeah. There's not going to be another chance to do Hela and, a good, Thor Ragnarok movie, at least for 10 years. At least! Because you still have the cinematic universe going, and then you'll have to reboot it at some point, right?
Yeah.
At least 10 years.
10
if
years.
If not longer. Planet Hulk, same thing. If not any Hulk movie in general.
Because we still don't know how to do those yet.
It's not that hard.
It really isn't.
I just don't...
Guys!
I just don't understand.
How have they managed to fuck this up?
Oh. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about or evaluate? There were some good things. I feel like we're beating the shit out of this movie. There were some good things. When I walked out of the movie, I was like, I had a good time, I guess. More because I know what's going on now with these characters more than like actually being satisfied by the movie. There were the visual scenes that were cool, like the Valkyries descending on Hela and fighting with Hela, even though it got super, super CG at the end of it. The initial like fights on the bridge were pretty cool. When they actually had Thor using his Raiden power, it looked cool.
Yeah,
it seemed cool.
A lot of the visuals were very well done.
I feel like the scene with Hela destroying Mjolnir would have been cool if it had happened like predictably on Asgard. Like, she showed up to Asgard to fucking take this place over, and Thor and Loki are like, fuck, and he throws his hammer to try to fight her, and she's just like, fuck you, blam, and just takes over Asgard. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That's honestly what should have happened,
and that would have been cool visually and like for a good villain and a terror. you have the Hulk who's essentially indestructible, and you have fucking Thor who is a fucking god with his brother who is also a god / frost giant / wizard with illusion powers. I don't know.
There's a lot going on with that character.
You have these three fucking like juggernauts in this universe, and you finally have a character that can actually pose a threat to them. And in a way, in a substantial way. It's like the problem you have with Superman. It's like, you're going to throw all these people that are going to fist fight him? Like, good luck, It
was like maybe 5 minutes in, everyone realizes that the fists don't work.
Hela's older, she's smarter, she's more powerful, she has more combat experience. She is intimidating on every level. She even has Odin's blood, so she has inherited Odin's traits and powers, just like Thor did.
Yeah,
so
she's literally...
She's the perfect amalgamation of a threatening villain for these super OP characters,
Yeah,
and
she's the goddess of death. That is her
thing. For being the goddess of death, she really doesn't strike that much fear into me,
I was too busy looking at the ageless and always attractive Kate Blanchett. She can kill me anytime. With that said, it's weird to see something that looked very action-packed, but when we actually got to the action, like I was still trying to come down from the relentless joke making and humor pokes and just like really trying to get me to chuckle real hard at something.
Yeah. And the one other thing I did like was the dynamic where they did kind of have Thor and Loki at times looking to kind of like make up with each other and like still tolerate each other, if not even kind of like each other in a kind of like
it's like they're still
rivalry
brothers.
way.
Yeah.
That I liked, but they kind of just, again, the whole middle of the movie, the whole middle hour of the movie, where they're on this planet, nothing makes sense. Like, that dynamic they were building is completely forgotten about and then recycled. I feel like this movie in the middle should have happened before Thor Ragnarok and then led into Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
So there's just so many things that they just fumbled on and just...
To say the least.
There was... I said it several times. I'll say it one more time. There's just so many little sparks of greatness that could have been molded into something really cool, both visually and, narratively. But they just wouldn't cash out on it. They just kept going for the stupid humor to interrupt it and doing the stupid nonsensical thing that would add a cameo or, send them off on some side mission or whatever else,
Yeah, it hurts.
The things that mattered in this movie happened at the very beginning and the very end, and to be honest, neither the end nor the beginning had a very good explanation to begin with. So you're just left with this kind of hollow movie that's more about fan service and stupid fucking couch fucking pothead jokes, throughout the whole movie, and just things that don't make sense in the context. This isn't like a world that has already been set up to make no sense and is just humorous throughout.
Right.
This movie has serious movies in it. This cinematic universe has very serious connotations throughout the movies and has very serious situations. They do have the little sprinkling of humor, and especially recently, more little winking at the audience. But they have like logical reasons for this stuff to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything else they had?
I mean, I could go on all night about this movie. it just, there's...
We should definitely do these reviews after the movie more often, because I feel like we have a lot more to say when we do.
Yeah. It seems like the biggest problem that this movie is always going to have is that there's too much. There's surprisingly both too much and too little at the same time.
Yeah.
There's too much
trying to be shoved in with too little substance to sustain it.
Yeah. That's where this movie suffers a lot. That's all I've got.
See it to stay relevant. Otherwise, if you don't care about the MCU at all, you could probably skip it. It's not you're not going to miss a whole lot.
If you don't care about either the Thor, if you don't care about the Hulk or Thor, you really don't need to see this movie. You can have someone tell you what happens at the end credit scene.
Yeah. So, I want to thank you all for sticking with us and joining us for the review discussion of Thor Ragnarok. Remember, you can go check it out right now if you want to. And again, if you want to stay updated, you probably should. If you like the video, if you like the discussion, feel free to like and subscribe down below on our YouTube channel. Send us some comments, maybe tweet at us at HTBvids on Twitter. Maybe message us on / hit the books on Facebook. We'll have more content coming up pretty soon here. Always remember to check out our website, htbvids.com, for any kind of updates we might have or upcoming events or videos. I've been saying this forever, but we're supposed to have a handful of instructional videos and 1 or 2 more reviews coming up soon. So stick around for that. We finally got everything up and running and going pretty smoothly. So
yeah, those instructional videos, really looking forward to shooting those. So
again, thank you for sticking with us. I'm your host, Chris Holcomb.
And I'm Emery Saunders.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.